Graham, good to see you again. I'll just start on the team news front, bodies-wise. How are you on the back of Saturday going into Leyton Orient?
Yeah, pretty good. I think we've obviously a couple of lads came off on Saturday, but no long-standing repercussions from that. Just things that they pick up in a game, which hamper their performance at the time. But a couple of days recovery, they're fine and good to go.
How pleased were you with what you were able to produce on Saturday, the performance and the control that you showed in that game?
Yeah, I think the control was really good. I thought the composure in the second half especially, or even at the start of the second half, the composure to understand what type of game it was and not get frustrated, it being 0-0 at half time. And then once we took the lead, I thought how we controlled the rest of the game by still having a goal threat and an attacking intent. Our press, everything all the way through the game. The whole performance was so consistent that I thought it was just probably a little bit on the back of two really good wins previous to that, clean sheets and so forth, and just that confidence coming back. That full confidence coming back into the group, and then sort of recognising when you're on top in a game and you get stronger from that because you know you're in a good place.
A lot of experience in this group. We knew that coming into the season, but do you feel there's a growing maturity about this squad and how they're approaching games at League One level? The early season momentum of being a newly promoted team seems to have gone now, and you are very much an established team, knowing your way at this level.
Yeah, I think momentum. I think you're right. I don't think that has any bearing on our results right now, and I think it might have at the start of the season with excitement and everyone's on a high, but certainly now when you get into late December, the results stand on their own, and I think the maturity that I'm seeing from younger players as well, people like Jensen and Bobby and stuff like that. Josh Neville in other games and stuff. I think it's really good, and that's what we always try to have. We try to have a mix where the senior players are showing the younger players how it is and how to behave, but the older players are always taking that buzz off the younger players as well, that naivety and actually the responsibility they have. I always think it helps people when they have responsibility. I think they know they've got to look after not just themselves but somebody else, and I think that makes them better people and better pros. And we talk to the senior players all the time about leading the way, setting the examples, and then helping any player. And it doesn't have to be a young player; it can be a senior player who's going through a difficult moment. It's our obligation to help those people through, not get frustrated with them, and because that can always boil over in the heat of a game, and I was guilty of that more than anybody else probably when I was a player and certainly as a manager at times. But I've learned that the best response is by talking to people and let them know that you're supporting them. That's the biggest thing. And I think we've got a really good, strong group of players that do that for each other really well.
In football, the currency being points, that seems to be what everyone really wants to focus on. But from a managerial standpoint, is there also that level of satisfaction watching that growth take place before your eyes and seeing some of these young men develop into grown men and maturing as players and as individuals?
Yeah, look, we always have our priorities, right? Winning is number one. So, whenever we're thinking about our players, talking to them, judging performance, it's always with the end game of winning, because players need to understand that as well as everybody else. But it is as a coach, if you take the pressure of winning away from it, what you're trying to achieve as a coach is trying to open up players' eyes and let them improve, help them improve, and pay back what people did for me in my playing career. That's where it is, and I think that's our responsibility. I think that's what probably underpins everything we are as coaches when we go into the coaching. It's that feeling, that sort of that responsibility to be able to help others and help other players. But when you a manager. Winning is the currency you are judged on. So getting that balance right is important. It's difficult at times, and sometimes players have to need to learn a harsh lesson, because their development will always come second to results. That's how the game is. But if you can get both, then that's the nirvana we'll try to seek.
Yeah, and obviously the defensive record at the moment is superb with 4 successive clean sheets. Just looking back on that now, what do you think's been key to that? Really, how do you think you've managed to get that?
Well, I thought we were reasonably strong defensively anyway, but we had lapses of concentration or lapses of focus in when we were comfortable in games, which cost us goals early in the season. Didn't cost us points because we were 2 or 3 ahead, but there was still lapses in concentration which we had to correct and get better with. So I think that's what it's just a culmination, really. We haven't done anything specifically different in the last 4 games. It's just a culmination of time, of messaging, of consistency, of when we were going through that patch of not winning games, but we were still picking up points and drawing games. We were still emphasising the importance of what we've been doing all season. So we weren't going, right, how do we let's rip everything up and try and find a different solution to win a game. We knew what we do is good enough, but you have to then take it into games. And so we didn't have to change anything. We just had to really double down on what we started 12 months ago, but certainly at the start of pre-season with this group of players, just going over the same messages and making sure we were doing that. So we'd give them clips where this wasn't where we started to be. And then we just basically went back a few pages and went, right, let's go over it again and really double down. And we had real clarity with that with the players. I think that helped them go into the game absolutely black and white. This is what we do when we're out of possession. And then you ultimately, when it comes down to your final third, you need to have the players willing enough to throw their bodies in front of things and block each other, block shots, be supporting. So if anyone gets 1-2, they'll take it on. There's always another defender there. And we've got a top goalkeeper behind that. If all those things fail, then Sam comes up with big saves as he did on Saturday. Yeah.
Looking ahead to Leyton Orient then, what do you expect from them as a team, obviously managed by someone who's extremely experienced as well? What do you expect him?
Good team. They've been established in League One now for a couple of years, and obviously playoffs and stuff like that. So, and you're right, Rich, he's a really good manager. Had success himself at a couple of clubs and done a great job at Leyton Orient. So it's another challenge. It's we see the challenges week in, week out. We don't differentiate from them. Each game is difficult, but for different reasons sometimes. But you see how tough it is. We beat Plymouth 1-0, and it was almost like it was an okay result. But then they've won the next 2 games 1-0. The league is tough. Sometimes teams are a little bit in a false position of what they have in their armoury, so to speak. But I don't really look too far into why teams are where they are. I'll just focus on my team and our group, and then take the next opponent as it is. That's it. So their league position, what they've done for 15 games is irrelevant to us. It's just what are they doing right now, and how do we have to overcome it? And the best way of overcoming any challenge or any opposition we have is by us being at our best in our game. And that's what I always emphasise to the players. This team, it's their team. Our team is theirs. The players, they can make it whatever they want. That's it. You can sometimes in football life you whinge about what you've got or what you're producing, but it's you. It's your choice. We'll change it then. Be whatever you want it to be, and that's what I believe we have. We have a team where the players make it what it is, and I think it's good to see that.
Yeah, and just finally, I wanted to reference someone who gave us a call after the game on Saturday. I think his name was Chris. He was a City fan, and he just basically wanted to thank you and thank the whole team for the 2025 that he's had to experience as a Bradford City supporter. And he just said that all they ask is for a team to go out there and work hard and perform. And he said they can be demanding at times, but he certainly felt like it's been a year to really reflect upon and enjoy. And I think he probably speaks for quite a few City fans in that respect. And I just wonder how much that emotion kind of seeps through. Obviously you've got your base here, at the ground, and you're obviously very focused on what you're doing and what's upcoming. But does that at all get into you? Do you feel that from the supporters, and how much can that be a big part for you?
Yeah, the feeling is 100% there. It's listen, 2025 ain't over yet, so we've still got to keep going. There's still 3 games to go. So we don't want to look back on the year when it's not even finished. But it has been a really productive year for us as a club in 2 different divisions. But like I've said it before, I think you'd have to be a right grumpy old bugger to not enjoy what's happened at the club for the last 12 months. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's been brilliant. I think that's a lovely message, and we do get head feedback from time to time. As you know, I'm not on social media at all, so unfortunately I don't get the positive messages from that, but there's a reason for that, because I'm sure there's other ones, so I'll just get on. But you still feel it, and you still get it through other people around you. But the biggest thing for me is we feel it when we get into Valley Parade, and we feel it when we go away. When we've got 5,000 going to Bolton with us, and we've got 800 odd going to Plymouth with us, that's when you feel it. And sometimes you don't need words. I mean, you can just feel an emotion. You can feel a gratitude or an appreciation, a respect between everybody. And I think words are important, but anyone can talk. I mean, it's about living it. And I think what we've done as a club is we live it. We don't just say fancy words. We actually live by what we talk about. And I think the support base has responded in kind with that. But it's took a lot of work from a lot of people. Obviously I'm at the forefront of it, being the manager, but there's so many people at this club and that work so hard every day without ever getting a light shown on them. But all their efforts are impactful on the end product, without a shadow of a doubt. So, if I'm getting thanked by anybody, honestly, they're thanking hundreds and hundreds of people for what the team is doing right now.
Thank you.
Okay, mate.
And following Orient, of course, straight into the Christmas period, and then comes the transfer window. Presumably that's where you rely on the team you have around you to help out with getting through all of that.
Yeah, I rely on a group of people all the time. My daily life, training, recruitment, everything, analysis. It's always a group of people. That's why I love this sport. It's a team sport. I think that's why the players are all enjoying their football, because they know they're surrounded by like-minded people. And the same with me in my role. I'm surrounded by like-minded people that have a real grasp on what we are, who we are, what we want to try and do, but also with the understanding of how tough it is for us as a club. And so there's a lot of common sense, I believe, at our club, and but it's never chipping away at our ambition, our inward ambition to be better, to try and achieve, to win as many games as possible. And and over time, you build up that trust. I believe they trust me. I know I trust them. But ultimately, we have to work as a team if we want to do good things. So it's never down to one person, recruitment or anything in football. It's always a collective. So yeah, we're working hard, and but that's all we ever do. It's whether we're successful or not, we're always working hard as a group.
And have you got in your mind, with the group of other people, the plan for the next 2-3 weeks and how it will go? Obviously, things can change through suspensions, whatever. Yeah. But do you have a rough plan of how the next 2 or 3 weeks are in-house?
We have a rough idea of what we believe we need. The plan for getting that, there is no plan, or there is a potential plan from our side, but there's so many different factors in that it won't stick to that plan without a shadow of a doubt. But we have to have a starting point, and we have to have a profile and an idea of what we're doing. Just letting go player or sign a player, it's not just done on a whim. It's done with a lot of thought and process and going back. I was talking to Jamie there about our defensive side. It's going back and going, right, what did we say we were going to do in the summer? Right, how close are we to that? Is this window going to look like what we thought it looked like in the summer? And just remind ourselves about what we had in our heads 6 months ago, 12 months ago, whatever it was. and have the discipline to stick with that. That's the thing. And I think the discipline to stick with that over the last 12 months has stood us in good stead and gives us confidence that our thoughts are in the right place. No guarantees with anything. Everything has a risk factor. But you have to have evidence behind your decisions. So, there's January. Well, any transfer window can be swing from one side to the next. I remember last January we thought we were finished, and then we picked up 2 injuries, and we had to bring Teo and Roman. That was right last minute, because something happened on the pitch, and thankfully it happened on the pitch just before the window shut. Because if it happened in the next game, we wouldn't have been able to get those guys, and we were never going to bring guys in just in case. That's the principles we have now. We have to see that they will generally have an impact, and there's a place for them as well. Not a direct place into the team or this, that, the other, but there is a place. It's not just a player that goes into a group and then we forget about him just in case. That's not the way we do things. So, am I looking forward to it? Probably not. I'm more looking forward to games and working with the players. But I know how vital it is for all clubs to try and improve every opportunity they get. Cheers. Okay, mate.
So going back, talking about the defence, I was going to ask you about Kieran Kelly. I mean, obviously he's someone who wasn't involved for a few weeks in the squad, and then he's come in and done very well the last 2 games. I mean, is that, again, that's part of you sort of knowing the process and knowing the system, and everyone sort of slotted into how the team wants to play? Yeah,
definitely. I think it gives me confidence that, and that's why we try to stay consistent with what we're doing, and because we want to use the full squad. So, I don't want a player coming in and saying, well, I'm not up to speed because we haven't been training right. Well, I know that's not the case. I'm not sure what we do in this situation. Well, I know that's not the case because you play lots of games and we've been playing this way for a long time now and all that sort of thing. So I believe we have that clarity in what we do, where every player, if he buys into it, will know exactly what's required. And there's still loads of little things and nuances in a game of football that are off script, because it's not all black and white. So that's where their intuition, their experience, or their intelligence comes into play. But the basic principles, how we want to do things, are there, set in stone for everybody. And I think Kieran's the epitome of what we try to create. He's a lad who does everything right off the pitch, maximising his potential. Still think there's growth in Kieran as well. So we had a chat because he came into the squad and he went back out of the squad, and he asked me why, and I gave him the solid truth. That was it. And he said, "Is that it?" I went, "Yeah, that's it. So you have to fix it." And he's gone away, and hopefully he's fixed it. And so I'm delighted for him because he's never let us down since we come in the door. He's never let us down when he's played. Listen, he's made mistakes. I've made mistakes. Every single player that's come onto our pitch has made mistakes, but he knows how we play. He commits to how we play, and I think he's a really good teammate for the rest of the guys. So I was delighted for him when you're looking at your players as individuals after the games and stuff like that. I'm delighted for him to show his worth to everybody.
As you said earlier, he's one of these younger players in terms of his playing experience in England, who's at this level for the first time. So he's learning the step up, isn't he? Yeah,
100%. And I've been that player in the past, stepping up levels, and you need time to adjust. You need time to sort of gauge what the challenge is, and then can you overcome it? And that's it. And that's what I challenged him to do a couple of weeks ago. And going off his last 2 performances, he's, I think the game is in your head. So, like, if you can make it really clear, and if a player is so focused on one thing, if I fix that, A, B, and C happens after that, I think it makes it easy. So, or easier, I should say, not easy. But I think Kieran has, you can look at an age of a player and say, oh, he's whatever, 26, 27, 25, whatever it is. But then you have to look at their game time and where that game time is, and then say, well, is this a new challenge for them? So that's how it is, and I think you have to help them. But as I was saying, getting this balance between winning and development. There is a 1 and a 2. 1 is winning, 2 is development. But they're just as important for me as a coach or us as a club to, when we talk about recruitment, bringing players in, but also who can we develop in our squad to stay with us and go through levels, like as from League 2 to League 1 and so forth like that. So I think Kieran has the potential to be able to do that, as do others. So it's down to them to grasp it and understand what it is. And we can't give them everything as coaches. There has to be a commitment and a thought process, and how much are they investing in their future, not just how much are we investing in them, how much are they investing in themselves. But I know Kieran is an absolute top pro and does that really well.
You talked obviously earlier about Orient, about how they've gone on to be in the a playoff team. It sort of shows the pathway you can make, isn't it? They've been promoted. I think it's their third season in the league, and the progress they've made. Obviously we saw Stockport. Wrexham's probably a bit different because of the But in terms of an Orient, say they're probably sort of midish budget again, and they've progressed well, and it does show that you can make that step up and succeed, isn't it?
You can, but you got to understand how you're going to do that and what it takes to do that. What are you willing to pay the price? As in, the work, the endeavour, the challenges you're going to have. Are you going to lose your confidence straight away? Are you going to lose your way straight away? All those sort of things. So when the challenges come, are you still composed? Are you still have an idea of what you are as a club? And I think Leyton Orient have a real clear identity of what they are. I think Richie does as well as a manager, and he's had the time there but he's earned the time through winning, because we don't get given the time, we have to earn it. And I think he's done a really good job there of developing that club from where they were. But they're a big club, and they're an established club. It's and you have to give respect to those clubs, just like we expect people to respect us for certain reasons. But I think when you can see teams or players or managers and they've set an example for us, and you can follow that and try and surpass it and all that sort of thing, I think it's good you get confidence from what you do yourself, and then you also get confidence by seeing what's achieved by other people. That's how I would think life works in general. So but we've got our own story as well. That's it. That's the biggest thing, and we want to set our own and have respect for our own club. But it's good to see other clubs doing the same thing.
You say about obviously Rich's experience, his career path almost a bit similar to yours, isn't it? In a sense, he's had his testing moments like a lot of managers have, but as you say, he's now getting the time, and you can see what he's achieving.
Look, any manager that's been 8, 9, 10 years, 3 or 4 different clubs or whatever it is, you've had to earn it all. That's it. It's the quickest thing you learn in management is how instant it is, how the time constraints, and certainly when you've had a long playing career and you've been used to being at a place like I was for a long time, and contracts and all that sort of thing, and then management is completely different world. So you have to earn it, but I think that's a good place as well. I think that's a good place to be when you're at peace with that and you understand it. And Richie's earned the time he's had at Leyton Orient from winning. That's it. And same with me here. So, and that will continue to be the case. I spoke the other week about players not being judged off 18 months ago. Right now, managers are exactly the same. So, but you hope over time when you have success, either as a player or as a manager, you do build up a bank of credit. And if you've shown what you are once, twice, 3 times, then that's probably what you are, and people will believe in that more.
Quick word on Tyrell. Obviously, a very big part of what this club achieved second half of last season. Yeah. He's stepped up a level as well at Orient, and he seems to be playing pretty regularly down there. Yeah,
it'd be good to see him. He's great lad. We had a brilliant time together. Like I say, he came in on right at the back end of the window, but there was a specific place for him there. Bang, we'd had a couple of injuries, Lewis and I think Tyreek at the time, so he came straight in and he hit the ground running. He absolutely loved his time here. His family loved his time. He became so close to everybody here in such a short period. And it's when you see lads like that, they're genuine lads. They've got talent. They've got burgeoning careers. They're trying to showcase their talent all the time, but underneath it, really solid lads with great families and stuff. It's really. You feel privileged in my position when you get to meet these people, and you've played a part in their career and they've played a part in yours. So, it'd be good to see him again. But you know what it's like. We're there to win.
And just on what you said to Jamie before about the maturity of the group and the game management. Obviously, it's important all season round, but Did it particularly come to the fore in that spell when the wins weren't coming, but the defeats weren't either, to sort of keep you in a position where these wins not mean more, but keep you in the automatic rather than scrambling to get into the playoffs?
Yeah, we're not scrambling or competing at anything league-wise yet. We're just going into the next game, but I get the point. I think there's confidence from that we talk about, or we try to take away drama away from professional football, because there's a lot around it. It's like a soap opera, isn't it, with a profile and everything. So that's good for everyone talking about it 24/7, every day of the week. But that's not how we need to live our lives. We have to have consistency and we have to have composure. And I think putting context on those draws, those continual draws and not winning a game, putting context on that for the players and for the staff and for myself and for the supporters to understand the bigger picture and where we are. I thought it just took the edge off any potential frustration from the players' perspective I'm talking about, and which made them feel not comfortable is the wrong word, but confident in what we've done will be enough. But we'd slightly just gone away from what we've been doing. So, but still being hard to beat is the minimum that you should be as a team. And I think we have that, so that was the biggest thing for me. So if this is us at our worst, drawing against Stevenage, league leaders, drawing against Bolton, if that's us at our worst, then, or worse, there's a lot to come from us. So if we improve 5%, then we know what the next step is. And I think for having that, those draws and then go and win 3 on the trot and clean sheets and everything, I think it just gives the players another layer of experience, another layer of self-belief, and another layer of confidence that, no, we're a good team, but we're not perfect. So we never even talk about being perfect, and I make that clear to the players before every game. Every single one is going to go on and give the ball away or miss a duel and that. What's that? What are you going to do? Fall over, cry? It is what it is. That's it. Just deal with the next one and just have that confidence. You're a good individual, surrounded by other good individuals, all motivated, all on the same path. That's a good place to be, and I think but the results are the verification of that, and it helps me do my job, because if we're not winning, I have to convince even more. When you're winning, they do all my talking for me, really.
Yeah. And just with regards to that, I mean, for those players who've been stepping up a level this season, was there an element of that in terms of they just needed to believe that they belonged at this level? I know you started the season very well, but do you think when the season kicks off and you're new to it, you'll have been in that position as a player?
Yeah, I think the thing was, and I think we all got caught up in it, and like I said it myself, you win 7 of your first 10 games, and I mean, win, like steamroller some teams. Maybe some of us are going, oh, this is going to be easy. What's all this talk about League One being a step up? Like, you know what I mean? And then reality hits, and it's tough, but then teams adjust here, but then still after that, your base is, we're still a hard team to beat. We're still really competitive. No one has an easy game against us. So if that's our lowest level, there's so much more for us to be. And so that's it. I think we're always constantly learning, about not about the level or the opposition, but more about ourselves and about our team and stuff like that. I think that's what you learn more about. And I think sometimes we all underestimate ourselves a little bit as of what we're capable of as human beings. And I think sometimes you have to really expand your expectation, expand your ambition, but then sort of put the work in to make sure that's the case. It's not just going to happen because you think about it. You have to then go, right, okay, but what do I have to do? A, B, and C steps to make that happen. And I think we try to do that with the players and give them things that are achievable in the short term, really quickly, bang, 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 because I think it's the best sort of form of, what's it called? Progression. I think when you constantly just taking a step forward, I think it's motivating for you. Going, no, we're doing good things. So, but we know we're starting at 0 on Saturday, going in against Leyton Orient. That's it. What we've done in the past is not going to win us a point on Saturday. It's not. We have to go, this is what we do. to achieve this, not we just go and achieve it. So I think the players know that now, that there's a process. And I think they look around at each other in the change room and they're nodding their head a lot, mentally, I mean, as in looking at their teammate going, yeah. That's such a strengthening thought as a professional when you look around and you're surrounded by people that you know you can rely on. I think that's a big motivating factor for all our group.
And particularly when it's not just 11, when he's coming into this position, but I can still, you've really got a depth, particularly, well, I was going to say particularly defensively, but you've really got a depth full stop.
Yeah. I think so, but that comes from players when they're not in the team, not in the squad, how they behave themselves and how they show respect for their teammates. Because if it's not there, when you get in the team, you're not going to get helped by your teammates. Yeah. I'm saying no, they're not, because they've seen you, they've heard you. So if you've been doing it right, you've took the frustration, which we all have when I was playing, not playing, but you've still been respectful of your teammates. You've still been there for your teammates before and after games. As soon as you get that opportunity to come back in, bang, they're with you because you need them. And Brad was the example of that on Saturday. Every single player in that squad and staff member was delighted for Brad coming into the team and showing what he could do and helping the team win. That's how this club works. That's how this team works. And listen, it doesn't happen with every individual. I understand that, but the more individuals we have with that attitude, the better we'll be as a team. And that's where players can come in. Kieran, Brad. There's others that have come in from not playing regular, but because they handle themselves well and they're good lads and they're with the group all the time and they work their socks off on the training pitch. The players know what they're going to give as soon as they're in the team, and that's it. And that's why I believe we've done what we've done, not down to individuals, but by the strength of the group. And that will always be the case for me and any team I manage. The team has to be the star, and I think that's what we have right here.
And we're into hospital visit seasons, and I know you don't do it for what you get out of it, but moments like that, moments like talkings, any point of community with of connection with the fan base, particularly when you don't all live in the city. Yeah. How important has that been in building the sort of trust Jamie was referring to from that fan and that connection?
Well, look, just what we were talking about there previously about players not being in the squad and not playing, and so what are we looking at there? We're looking at a human element. What are they? Are they still with us, or are they selfish, just involved in themselves? And so, but you only get that from being with each other and talking to each other and seeing how each other behaves, and that's why any connection and interaction we can have with supporters is really important, because then they see the human behind what they see on a Saturday, and. Listen, they still want that human to be good on Saturday and win. But I think it gives an understanding that they're just normal guys. We're all just normal guys. And we've all got families and, hospital visits and school visits now. We've all been to school. We've all been in hospital or had people in hospital. So we're all connected on just a basic human level. So I think it's, football obviously gets put on a pedestal, and footballers or managers and so forth. But underneath, we've all got the same aspects of life that everyone else has, and I think as much as them knowing us, I think us knowing them is just as important, and understanding the support base, their frustrations, their history with the club. I think it puts into clarity what they're feeling, and if you can buy into that, if you can understand it and have empathy for that or whatever it is, I just think it helps everybody get along and be on the same page when the tough times come. So when the tough times come, well, the so-called tough times, everyone's still competing with each other because there's a faith there and a trust. So I think it's great that players, staff all get out there in the community to sort of just communicate really, and just listen sometimes to people. I think that's a good thing as well. So it's something that the club takes seriously. I think football does in general. Really well. It's a lot bigger than it was when I was a young player, and it's so important, and everyone takes it seriously here. So it's important to do, and it's good that we have that relationship with our supporters.
It gives a bit of context to everyone, doesn't it? It's not scoring for 3 games is a crisis in our little world. But
yes.
When you get out and see what What actual crises are.
Yeah, and listen, but we've all got these things going on in our own lives as well. But but sometimes in life you think it's personal, it's only you. But then and actually it's happened to a lot of people, and it happens all over the place. So it's not nice, but it is the norm. You know, that's how life is. It's one constant fight. So I think it just takes the drama away from your scenarios, gives you empathy for others, and then for you and all that sort of thing. So I think it just gives you a good grounding. I think people good grounding. I think they get what they want out of life, and I think this certainly helps us. But I know it helps the support base as well, because they want to feel attached to their team, not just the team in general, but the people who are in it. And these opportunities give us that chance.